The gym security footage shows a young woman mid-workout, phone propped up, filming herself. She's focused. She has no idea someone is watching the door. At 11:02 a.m., her friend Amy texts, "He has no sense of what's normal. He is a freak. Just stay away from him." At 11:08, Molly McLaren looked up from inside her car. Joshua Stimson was already crossing the car park. He had a knife. He had purchased it a week earlier. He had been driving slow circles around the lot, waiting. Molly McLaren was 23 years old. She had gone to her gym that morning to film a workout. She had texted her mother. She had done everything right. 3 women had reported Joshua Stimson to the police before this morning. Not one of those reports was ever connected to another. That is what this case is really about. Not a single act of violence, but a trail of warnings that police held in separate hands and never once placed side by side. Call it disconnected evidence. Molly McLaren grew up in Chatham, Kent, a market town where the high street closes early, and people still nod to strangers. She was born June 26, 1994. Her parents, Joanne and Douglas, described a daughter who was warm, physically present in a room, someone whose laugh arrived before she did. She had struggled. Bulimia and anxiety tracked her through adolescence. But by the time she enrolled at the University of Kent in 2015 to study exercise, sport, and health education, she had done the harder work on herself. She ran a fitness blog. She posted motivational content, not the performative kind, but the kind written by someone who had genuinely needed it once and remembered that. In the summer of 2016, Molly downloaded Tinder. On July 31st, she matched with Joshua Stimson, 26, who had moved from Stoke-on-Trent to Woodham, 7 miles from Cobham. He told her early on that he struggled with anxiety and depression. He said he had bipolar disorder. He was a fitness person too. Molly felt a connection. Her friends did not share it. They described someone who showed no interest in getting to know them, who watched Molly in a room the way a person watches a door. Her parents noticed that he treated boundaries as suggestions. Told he couldn't come over, he simply arrived anyway. After a weekend where Molly had studied while he sat on her bed, he messaged her, "It's unfair for me to waste hours of my weekend sitting on your bed in silence." Molly pushed back. She told him she needed space. He responded with a cascade of accusations, that she was ungrateful, that she was taking him for granted. Then he told her his mental health was suffering because of her behavior. That was the first iteration of a pattern that would define the following months. The bipolar disorder diagnosis was fabricated. Joshua had invented it to generate sympathy and to manufacture a reason for Molly to cancel her plans, stay close, and feel responsible for his stability. He had told her something that wasn't true, and he had told her specifically because it would work. That is disconnected evidence operating at its most personal level. Information presented without context, designed to prevent anyone from seeing the full picture. Joshua Stimson's previous girlfriend had reported stalking behavior to Staffordshire Police in 2013, 3 separate times. His conduct was never recorded as a crime. When Molly McLaren walked into Kent Police in 2017, that report did not exist. Molly ended the relationship once. Joshua's response was a sustained campaign of pleading that shifted, when pleading failed, into accusation. He told her she was misreading him. He told her the problem was her anxiety. He encouraged her to see a GP. She took him back. His co-workers described someone with 2 distinct modes, personable and easy one day, cold and withdrawn the next. His last relationship before Molly had ended when he spat in his then-girlfriend's face at a bar. In April 2017, the McLaren family watched Joshua at a family party in Essex. He photographed Molly dancing with her cousins. He had been secretly recording her during their arguments for months. Footage he kept, he later told Joanne, in case he needed it. When Joanne arrived at the hotel room that night at Molly's request, Joshua was showing her the recordings. The look on his face, Joanne later said, was the first moment she understood they were not dealing with ordinary relationship dysfunction. Molly still wanted to end things gently. They had a holiday in Tenerife booked. She went. Within a day, she was messaging home, "I've made a mistake. Help me." Back in England, she told Joanne she had no feelings left for Joshua. She needed to find the right words. That moment came on June 17, 2017, her birthday celebration in Maidstone. Mid-argument in the middle of a club, Molly told him it was over. Joshua turned to her friends and announced it aloud, "She's finished with me." His face, by their account, entirely still. When his appeals for reconciliation failed, he turned to social media. He posted that Molly, a health student and fitness blogger, used cocaine. He screenshot private messages. He tagged her family members. He wanted them to see. On June 22nd, Molly and Joanne took printed copies of everything to North Kent Police. The attending officer phoned Joshua with Molly in the room. Joshua said repeatedly, "I haven't done anything wrong." Then, "If you think I have, there's more to come." The officer's written report concluded no criminal offense had occurred. Kent, in the summer of 2017, was not a county where police were calling a hotspot for coercive control enforcement. The legislation had existed since 2015. The Serious Crime Act had made controlling or coercive behavior in intimate relationships a criminal offense carrying up to 5 years. But implementation lagged. Training lagged. Officer Philpott, who attended Molly's case at North Kent Police Station, assessed Joshua's social media campaign and determined it did not constitute a course of harassment. That assessment was filed. Philpott went off duty. The case Saturday. The next day, June 23rd, Joshua arrived at the same police station with his own complaint. Molly, he said, was spreading rumors that he was in trouble with the police. It was damaging his career. Officers advised him to cease contact and remove the posts. 2 days later, on June 25th, Molly phoned again. The posts were back. The information was logged and marked for Philpott. He was not back on duty for several more days. Dr. Jane Monckton-Smith, a criminologist at the University of Gloucestershire who has mapped the behavioral escalation pattern in coercive control cases, has identified 8 stages between a relationship forming and a homicide occurring. By June 25th, Molly's case had moved through at least 6 of them. The police held fragments of stage 6. Nobody was assembling the picture. What the police did not hold, because no one had connected the systems, was the file that existed in Staffordshire. In 2013, Alexandra Dale had reported Joshua Stimson 3 times. He had sent photographs of her back garden, taken without her knowledge. He had told her there was a surprise waiting when she got home. Her car tires had been slashed. Staffordshire Police's response was a text message to Joshua asking him to stop contact. The incident was never logged as stalking. The record, such as it was, stayed in Staffordshire. 7 miles separated Joshua's home from Molly's. He had purchased a knife and a pickaxe at local hardware stores 1 week before June 29th. Both were in his car. 1 week before the murder, Joshua arranged a Tinder date. He chose the venue himself, the Ship and Trades pub at Chatham Docks. It was the same pub where Molly had told friends she planned to celebrate her birthday. He already knew where she would be. The evening of June 28th, Molly arrived at the Ship and Trades with friends. She had changed her social media names, set up new accounts, and blocked Joshua everywhere she could find him. She posted a Snapchat selfie, smiling, the caption reading "Ship and Trade this eve" with a love heart. Joshua had a solution to the blocking. A woman he had briefly contacted on Tinder had agreed to befriend Molly on her social media accounts and relay her posts to him. Joshua had not told this woman the full reason. She did not know what she was part of. At some point that evening, Molly went to the bar to order food. When she came back, her face had changed. Joshua was inside the pub, seated with his Tinder date. He walked past her table on the way out, making certain to catch her eye. Molly told her friends it had to be a coincidence. It was not. She finished her drink and left early. It was the last time her friends would see her alive. The next morning, June 29th, Molly was at the Chatham Dockside Outlet Gym by 10:10 a.m. She was filming workouts for a personal training course, daily visits, part of a curriculum. She propped up her phone. She started filming. Minutes later, Joshua came up the stairs, looked through the open door, saw her, and walked back down. Then he turned around, walked up again, and entered. He picked up an exercise mat. He positioned it next to hers. Molly caught him in her video before she went over to confront him. She asked why he was there and not at work. He said it was none of her business. She moved to another part of the gym and sent texts. At 10:45 a.m., she texted Joanne, "Mum, he's turned up at the gym and will come next to me." Joanne told her to come straight home. At 10:59, she texted her friend Amy Lee with a photograph of Joshua behind her. Amy told her to leave now. At 11 a.m., Molly sent one more message. She thought Joshua had left. She was going to her car. He had not left. He was driving slow circles around the car park, waiting for her to walk out. Amy's 11:02 message, "He's a freak, just stay away from him," was sitting unread on Molly's phone when Joshua crossed the car park toward her car. Leah Hubbard, the woman Joshua had met at the Sauce Bar in Maidstone in 2016, had also experienced what happened when Joshua decided he had been wronged. She had ended things with him after he showed up uninvited at her grandmother's birthday, calling and texting in rapid succession. Days later, she woke at 2 a.m. to find him inside her house. He told her he needed to charge his phone. She warned him she would call the police if he ever did it again. He didn't return to her house. He simply started appearing wherever she was, outside venues, on the street, until he moved on. He moved on to Molly McLaren. 3 women. 3 separate reports spread across 2 counties. Not one of those reports was visible to the officer handling Molly's case. This is what disconnected evidence does. It keeps the pattern invisible until the pattern is complete. At 11:08 a.m., Joshua pulled open the driver's door of Molly's Citroën. She had more than 75 stab wounds. He walked away from the car, waited for the police, wiped the blood from his face, and said, "It's me you're looking for. She's in the car. I've killed her." He planned it. He waited for it. He watched her die, and then he stood and waited to be collected. The trial opened in January 2018. Joshua Stimson pleaded not guilty to murder on grounds of diminished responsibility, citing a personality disorder. Under UK law, the defense requires proof that a recognized mental disorder substantially impaired the defendant's ability to understand what they were doing, form rational judgment, or exercise self-control. Dr. Saheed Majid, lead forensic consultant at Thornford Park Psychiatric Hospital, testified for the defense. He had diagnosed Joshua with severe borderline personality disorder and argued that abandonment issues stemming from his parents' divorce and his hypersensitivity to rejection impaired his functioning at the time of the murder. Dr. Philip Joseph, testifying for the prosecution, disagreed with precision. Joshua showed no signs of a mental disorder that impaired his understanding of his actions. He was immature. He was vain. He had narcissistic traits. He showed no remorse. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. Guilty of murder. At sentencing, Judge Adele Williams said what the evidence had long established. Joshua Stimson did not have a personality disorder. He had an issue with women. The fabricated bipolar diagnosis. The hidden recordings. The weapon was purchased a week in advance. The Tinder date was arranged at the venue where he knew Molly would be. The proxy account is tracking her movements. The slow circles around the car park. Every step was controlled. Every step was intentional. Every step was disconnected evidence converted into a coordinated plan, and it only became visible after Molly was already dead. 2 more women testified. Leah Hubbard described waking to find him in her house. Alexandra Dale described 3 reports to Staffordshire Police: the photograph of her garden taken without her knowledge, the slashed tires, the following, the threats to drown her. Staffordshire's response had been a text message. No crime had been logged. Had Alexandra's 2013 reports been correctly recorded as stalking, Kent Police would have had access to them when Molly came forward in June 2017. Officer Philpott would have been reading the file of a man with a documented stalking history in 2 counties, not just an argument between former partners. That connection was never made. The question no police authority has publicly and directly answered is this: if a stalking incident is not recorded as a crime, it does not enter the system that officers in other forces query when a new complaint arrives. The system is only as useful as what gets put into it. Alexandra put the information in 3 times. It never became data. Judge Williams sentenced Joshua Stimson to a minimum of 26 years. Her final words to him: "You were determined to punish her for finishing with you. You were seeking revenge." She was 23 years old, beautiful, and intelligent. Following the verdict, Kent Police invited the Independent Office for Police Conduct to review their handling of Molly's case. The review identified a series of failures. Officers are now required to record stalking as a crime in England and Wales, not as harassment, not as a domestic dispute, but specifically as stalking, with a documentation that creates a searchable record across forces. That requirement did not exist in June 2017. The McLaren family released a statement after sentencing: "The verdict has brought us a small measure of comfort. Nothing will take away the pain or allow us to come to terms with our Molly being taken from us. We are serving a lifetime of pain, anguish, and loss." Joanne and Douglas McLaren did not stop there. They founded the Molly McLaren Foundation, which funds charities that educate, raise awareness, and provide support for people affected by eating disorders, the struggle Molly had quietly fought and publicly addressed, because she believed her experience might be worth something to someone else. Alexandra Dale, whose 3 reports had disappeared into a system that did not log them correctly, wrote publicly after the sentencing, "This twisted man made my life hell, and the police were informed yet did nothing. This poor girl did the same, and still nothing." She was not wrong. She was describing a structural failure that preceded Molly's death by 4 years. Disconnected evidence not only fails at the level of databases, it fails because the human beings operating those databases made judgment calls, repeatedly, that kept each incident isolated. Joshua told the police, "I haven't done anything wrong," while Molly sat in the room. The officer believed the framing. Joshua walked out. He returned to the same station the next day as a complainant. Molly McLaren went to the police. She followed every instruction she was given. She printed the messages. She made the calls. She texted her mother from the gym that morning because she was trying to stay in contact with people who could help her. She did not survive despite any of this. The law changed after Molly died. Stalking is now a recordable crime in England and Wales. Cross-force visibility is the stated standard. But the law changing and the system changing are not the same thing. Recording an incident and recognizing a pattern are not the same thing. Molly McLaren's family continues to carry what no legislation can reach. If this case stays with you, and it should, the Molly McLaren Foundation is still working. What Molly believed about her own story, that it could matter to someone else, turned out to be more true than she knew. Subscribe if you want to stay with this channel. The next case we are covering involves a national database that exists specifically to flag behavioral patterns across jurisdictions, and a case where it was queried, returned a result, and the result was not acted on. Before you go, one question worth sitting with. In 2013, Alexandra Dale reported Joshua Stimson to Staffordshire Police 3 times. Her reports were never logged as stalking. The officer sent him a text. Should that officer face any professional consequence? Or was the failure entirely in the system they were trained to use? Leave your answer below. This is an argument worth having.